We've been trying to teach Brew to juggle.
Oh,
it was tough, being away for 3 months. Obviously isn't ideal, but yeah, it was a tough 3 months. Credit to all the boys. We've came back fit, we've came back strong, and we've had a good game tonight. We're unlucky not to get the win, but it feels good to be in the starting 11 and playing games here. So yeah.
Yeah, I just recognized the space in behind, and Rob Kieran played a great ball over top, just ran onto it and just finished it. But yeah, just happy to come out with the point. We'll focus on our next game next weekend, and lots of work to be done.
No, I think we're both on the same boat. We know what we want, which is solid back. Nothing can get through us. Great communication. He has a great experience. Myself as well. And it's just kind of holding the team together. A great core down the middle, and if we continue to do that, great communication, organize the team. Orange County has a lot to give and going for that championship.
Coming again.
I tell you what, 2 months ago, I thought that it was going to be the end of the season. But to get word about a month and a half ago or a month ago, I think it was when they announced that we're going to actually have a league. I think everybody's extremely grateful and very happy and to just even be out here. But with that said, then it brings in all the frustrations, because ultimately, we're all ultra competitive when we want to win, and it gets a bit frustrating at times. But we understand because health is the number one focus, and make sure everybody's healthy. But that was our first 11v11 game in 2 weeks. We haven't had the numbers because with a few positive tests and guys being in quarantine and obviously Thomas Ingebrigtsen's in Denmark for the birth of his child. Just being short on numbers and not having the opportunity to bring guys in. Chandler Hoffman been here for 10 days, and yesterday was his first day of training, just because of all the protocols. So I didn't know what quite to expect physically. I thought the players had done a really good job coming in to stay fit. But again, it's about match sharpness and match fitness. And I thought you could see the first 15, 20 minutes was a bit of a struggle to kind of get themselves back up to the match speed. We committed a lot of fouls just being late.
And Phoenix wasn't giving you much space.
Yeah, but I think we didn't do a good job of spacing ourselves out and creating what we really wanted to do. And I thought ultimately by at halftime we had a word, and we came out the second half. I thought we grew into the game, and I thought we did really well to start the second half.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. It's our 100th episode, so we're here to have a little bit of fun. We also brought someone along to help us share what's going on with the club. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
Towards the near post, the flick, and it's in. Darwin Jones with the response for Orange County. And it is a massive one. Off the goal, dominant in the last 10.
Forrester in the middle now, gets around a few defenders. Forrester with the outside right foot. What a strike by Harry Forrester. It's the opening goal for Orange County.
Has it now, back post, opportunity and a goal! A beautiful goal by Orange County.
This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. Follow us on Twitter at OCSC_SoccerCast or on Facebook at Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, presented by Roughneck Scarves and Icarus FC. We are the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Samora, and I'm with you pretty much each and every episode as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club. Like I said, it's our 100th episode, so we've got some fun going on today. Quick, let me introduce my co-host, and then we'll bring on our special guest. First co-host to welcome back, as always, is Dylan from County Line Coalition. Dylan, how's it going?
It's going great. And if you haven't noticed, it's our 100th episode. Austin Roby in Miami sang it there. But none of the rest of you have made 100 appearances, so I'm the only centenarian.
Oh, look at him already calling it out for everyone. Someone that's pretty close in numbers, but definitely nowhere near where Dylan is. That's Alan down in San Diego. Alan, how you doing?
Things are going pretty well down here. Same old soccer season starting. There's been a lot of really fun games to watch, and I know we're going to talk about this one, but this one was entertaining, even if it was only 1-1. It was a really good game to watch, and I think it really showcased the strength of both teams and the strength of the Western Conference.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Alan. One last person to introduce before we get to our guest, and that's a friend of the show. He's been on here numerous times. Hopefully he doesn't make too much noise in the background. He is also, I guess, now part of a history podcast, not just covering soccer. He likes to talk a little bit about history, and that would be a mouthful of history. That's his new podcast. This is Cameron. Cameron, how you doing?
Doing all right, Ray. History was my bachelor's degree, and so a few friends, we decided to get together and create a history podcast. So I know all my media was in soccer, but now getting into the world, thousands of years of history to share with all of you now.
Perfect. And now let's do this. Let's introduce the person that most of you are probably tuning in to hear from, and that's a defender for Orange County Soccer Club. I believe we've tried to get him on the podcast before. I can't remember if we've actually gotten him on. I know we've had technical difficulties in the past, but maybe he'll remind us. That's Kevin Alston, defender for your Orange County Soccer Club. Kevin, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, guys. Happy to be here. I think I did come on once. I believe we had technical issues. I don't know if it was a live stream, but yeah, I'm happy to be back.
Perfect. And we are definitely glad to have you back on this podcast. You're one of the elder statesmen now for this team. You've been on longer than most on this roster. For those that follow the USL, there's a lot of roster turnover from time to time. So when you can have a player that's been around for multiple seasons, it's always a great thing. Kevin, heading into the season, before any of this craziness happened, just sort of go through what your mentality was and what you thought of the team that was built by Coach Braden Cloutier and General Manager Oliver Weiss.
So going into the season, I was in pretty frequent contact with Braden and Oliver, talking about guys that might be coming in, new pieces, and I was really excited. I think as you all can see, we've put a really good squad together on paper, and I think we've worked really hard to try and put it all together. Obviously things haven't really played out the way anybody expected, but going into the season, I was just excited. I was feeling as good as ever, ready to get going. Anytime you start a preseason, it's fun to see, the new guys coming in, interact with everybody, just get back into the swing of things and, grind together in the hope of getting ready for the season.
Now break it down for just sort of the mentality of yourself and maybe the team in general. You go into that first match against El Paso. There's sort of some rumblings about this thing called the coronavirus that's starting to spread around the United States, but the game goes on as planned. And then I believe just a few days after that match, the league sort of suspends operations because of concern for player safety, fan safety, and just safety in general. What was going on in the mind of a player through that whole craziness?
Wow, a lot. I mean, it was tough. Like you said, we had that first game, and I think we had a bye week in the second week, so it's a little bit different of a week. I think we came in that Monday following everything, and that's when we really learned that things were being shut down, and at that time, it's really unexpected, and it's a situation that nobody's really dealt with before, so you don't really know how to respond to it. But from our mentality, it was just like, all right, well, let's stay ready. Let's see what we need to do as a team. Obviously, like operations were shut down, but how can we individually just stay ready? Because our thought was, hey, we'll be back soon. We'll sort this out, nip it in the butt. But clearly, Corona had much different plans. So I think the main thing was just staying locked in and together as a team. You don't want to get too distant, especially spending that much time together after everything you've kind of achieved in preseason. So, whether it was Zoom calls or just, anything we could do to just kind of stay connected as a team throughout the process.
And so what did you do to stay in shape or at least prepare for the potential return?
I went on a lot of so my thing was during quarantine, I did a lot of hikes with my dog. That was like our get outside activity that we could kind of stay distance from everybody. And from that, I started doing a lot of trail runs. Most notably Crystal Cove, I believe there's a 7-mile loop that I was doing every Saturday. And just trying to find other ways to stay fit. I mean, it's hard because you don't have a gym, you don't have a weight room. We have, some free weights. So kind of just make do with what you got and go for runs here and there. And I think we had rowers at one point, which was great. But it was definitely a big change, and everybody just really had to try and adapt to it. But my thing was trail runs.
It's just going full Rocky status, like taking the meat carts and just like throwing. Like,
oh yeah,
just punching everything you can get.
Anything you can. I think at one point we were doing Zoom workouts and we didn't have weights, so like we would use bags filled with whatever just to have something that had weight in it. It was tough.
Let me pass it over to you, Dylan.
Kevin, obviously, it's come up in the past, especially with the work the club does with Soccer for Hope, but you are a leukemia survivor. How much of that weighs on you with a particularly deadly virus?
Yeah, a good amount, at least initially. It was a big concern for me. I still have pretty frequent checkups with my oncologist to do blood work. So that was kind of one of the first things we really talked about. But, it was tough because there wasn't a whole lot of information out on this. And still, I think there's still a lot of things that are kind of evolving every day and pretty unclear. So from the surface, I was worried at first, but after talking to my oncologist, I think the main thing we came to terms with was that I'm healthy, my immune system's healthy. So I wouldn't necessarily consider myself higher risk right now just because my immune system's pretty much the same as anybody else's. So now if I were still ongoing treatment or anything like that, I'd probably have some more concerns, but it has weighed pretty heavily on the back of my mind and still does. I think about it all the time, but I try to be safe as possible and control what I can control.
Well, glad to hear you are doing well. You missed out on the first match. Danny Finlayson took your spot, but itching to get back out there. Are you close?
I think I'm very close. I'm hoping to be back out there very, very soon. Obviously it's one of those things where we have 15 games left, so I don't want to rush anything and get back too early and risk missing more games. But I think Danny did a great job. It's not a tough matchup whenever you go against Phoenix with those front three specifically, and to pretty much keep a clean sheet apart from the set piece, I think he adapted very well to that role and did his job. And but yeah, I'm itching to get back out there. It's I live for that, and so when I'm ready, I'll be there, and I'm ready to go.
So Orange County has a pretty good and I think a pretty smart mix of both I want to say veteran players and young players. And you've been with the team for a while. What is your role in kind of, I don't want to say mentoring, if you will, some of the younger players on the team, especially on that back line? Like, do you feel like you want to take over that role as a mentor, or is that something like, hey, we're just going to work with them and figure it out? Have you taken any under your wing, work with them at all? Like, what do you feel your role is in helping the younger generation?
Yeah, I mean, so I think the younger generation is so important. And for me, I've always been more of I'm not a big talker. I mean, I talk to people on the side, but I've always tried to be more of the lead by example type. And whether it's in trainings, if I try to, pass on as much advice and, whatever I've learned through my process, I try to pass it on to the younger guys, guys like Dan and young guys coming in. And, I want to see everybody succeed. So I think, yeah, for me, it's more just lead by example on the field, but I try to pass on as much pointers as I can throughout trainings constantly. If it's something I see that can be tinkered with a little bit or formational, or maybe you could have approached this situation differently, I'll certainly speak up, and I try to help them out as much as possible, because we're all in it together, but they're the future.
Cameron, go ahead.
So, Kev, you're a jack of all trades fullback. You get up the pitch, you can defend well as well. But if you had to pick one quality that you feel like you've improved on the most throughout your entire career, what quality would that be?
Improved on the most throughout my entire career.
It's like, if you had to pick one quality, what would you noticeably felt you improved on from the beginning to now? I know it's a very broad question.
Yeah, so I'd say the thing I've improved on the most is, I think I've always taken pride in my 1v1 defending, but I think especially earlier on in my career, I was, positionally, I think I was lost at sometimes, just trying to figure out where I need to be within the back line, figuring out where I need to be, where I don't find myself in dangerous positions, kind of eliminating those things before they even happen. So I'd say my biggest improvement has been just my position in the back line, and just my angles in possession and playing out. I think I've improved in that aspect, where I've playing out of the back, especially on teams like this where we really want to focus on playing out of the back. I think I can help be an integral part in the back, where we can start the possession moving up the field. So I'd say just my position on the field, and just my possession out the back, I think have been my two biggest improvements.
Wonderful. I think we're out of serious questions for you, so I'll ask you the question that we ask everyone, all the players that come on this podcast. What is your favorite vegetable, and how do you prepare it?
Ooh, okay. Favorite vegetable. Well, I'd say recently, in the past 3 or 4 years, beets have really taken a front seat. And it all started when I played in Orlando, because our nutritionist she was all about beets, and I still don't really know what they do for you, but she said they were great, and we would take beet formula before games, and she recommended beets in all our diets. And I actually like beets. And the way I prepare them is I boil them. I put them in a pot, and I boil them for like 45 minutes, and then the skin just peels off, and I dice them up, throw them in the fridge. So I'd say beets. Beets are probably my number one right now. But like, if we're talking all time, I've always loved cabbage. My family's from, my dad's side of the family's from North Carolina, so my grandma always used to make this great cabbage. So something like that. But beets are really top of the charts right now for me. If that's a vegetable, right? I'm assuming that's a vegetable.
It can be if you want it to be.
I think it checks out.
All right.
But Kev, not only are you a footballer, soccer player, you're also a Twitch streamer as well. You've had your time on Twitch. So have you had, during this quarantine, have you had time to, up your Twitch game, up the video game, the video game stuff?
So this is kind of the progression of my quarantine. So early on, I started playing Warzone pretty aggressively. I wasn't streaming per se, but I was playing Warzone. But I probably spent way too many hours watching Twitch streams. I have my list of favorite streamers, and I'll put in a lot of time doing research. I'll watch them during the day. I'll jump on the sticks at night, try to implement what I've seen. So yeah, but then the problem was I was playing so much Warzone that I went 0 to 100 and then back to 0. So I haven't played too much recently, but I'm still I watch Twitch streams every single day. So that's pretty much been my progression during quarantine. Spending a lot of hours. Yeah.
Workouts, Warzone, Twitch watching. That's what...
Yeah, and hikes. That's a big one. That was like a daily thing. I was either hiking with my dog, or we've been going on like 2-hour walks at night. So
it's interesting because this quarantine has made people this quarantine has made people sort of have to figure out new ways to entertain themselves. So I'm glad you were able to at least find some ways to entertain yourself, stay in shape, and stay prepared for the return of the season. Quickly, can you give us a anticipation or a guess of what's going to happen this weekend? Or prediction,
Well,
I guess?
I think it's going to be a lot different than the game last weekend, just because now that we played, we've seen each other, we've kind of learned, how teams have progressed throughout the quarantine. We see how they line up. I'm sure they'll make some adjustments. We have some adjustments we want to make on our own, but I believe in us, man. I truly believe across the USL we have one of the best rosters, if not best rosters on paper, and I think we have the potential to put it together. It's just, can we deliver the full product? And I think we can. So I like us. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great matchup either way. I'm not going to come on here and make any score predictions. That's never been my style, but we will certainly put our best foot forward, and we hope to come out with 3 points.
I guess one prediction we can make is that former teammate Kanto won't be available for this match because of the red card at the end of the last match. So
that's
unfortunately, you don't get to see him again in a few days. So, but best of luck to you and the rest of your teammates there in Orange County against the bitter rivals from Phoenix Rising FC. Ladies and gentlemen, you can catch Kevin Alston, Orange County Soccer Club, and your favorite team this weekend. It's a Saturday match, Saturday evening on ESPN Plus, and also on Cox Yearview if you're in the Orange County or Santa Barbara area. So, Kevin, thanks for taking some time out of your evening to join us on the show, and best of luck to you guys this weekend.
No problem. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it, guys.
Perfect. Awesome. Once again, Kevin Alston, defender for your Orange County Soccer Club. We always love when we have players on the stream. And luckily for us, Kevin, even though the first time he tried to join us, we ran into some major technical difficulties, he was still willing to come back on and spend a little bit of time with us. And because of a delay on my EUSL match that happened right before the stream, we got on here a little late. So he hung out a little bit later than he probably was anticipating. So we definitely appreciate that. Why are you shaking your head, Alan?
I'm just unprofessional. But that's on brand, so it works out.
I was going to say, when did we ever truly say that we are a 100% professional podcaster? We do our best, but from time to time things happen. If you didn't catch it just before we went live with this podcast, my EUSL match, I actually finally decided to use Rangers FC as my team in the EUSL with 2 games left, I believe, and it went pretty well for me. So props to our partner fans out there in Scotland. You have a great football club out there, and they worked out well for me. So I probably will continue using them at least next week as well. Let's get into talking about this Phoenix match that happened when did it happen? I'm just so
almost
thrown
a week
off
ago. Last Thursday.
Almost a week ago.
5 days.
5 days ago. So a work week ago, when Phoenix came out to Orange County, and it was a 1-1 draw. So my score prediction didn't come true, gratefully for that. Let's get quick first impressions of that match. And I'm going to start off with our guest here, Cameron.
I thought it was Orange County played a very good game. I mean, apart from probably 2 flurries that Phoenix had, I think Orange County controlled the match. I thought they defended well. They got into some good scoring areas, and I felt that, did Darwin Jones go down easy? I think he could have stood up and got that second goal, but, I think probably there was contact there. And I just think that when Jones and Coleman came on, we had Phoenix on the ropes. And I think we could have done a bit more to get that second goal. But overall, I thought Orange County, after the lockdown, played a very strong game.
What about you, Alan?
I'd have to agree. I think you go toe-to-toe with Phoenix. It's always It's always a good sign. I think Phoenix might had a slight advantage in possession overall, but we all know that possession is kind of a trash stat and doesn't really tell you a whole story. But I mean, like pretty even shots on target. It was like I said, it was a pretty even match all the way through. I thought Orange County had a better run of play throughout the entirety of the match. I think that they are going to adjust a few things. Phoenix's back line looked a little bit sluggish, which I think Orange County on those wings with some speed can do some stuff. Phoenix's midfield is underwhelming, to say the least. I think Phoenix as a soccer club right now is well endowed with talent, but if you look at their talent, it's almost entirely on the front line. They're kind of weak in the midfield, which leaves them open to Orange County, who I think one of their strengths is a lot of their midfield players, like an Aiden Quinn, and I think they put them under a lot of pressure. I think that Orange County should feel very positive going into this weekend's match.
And then what are your thoughts, Dylan, on this match?
I think we all predicted Orange County was going to lose.
Not me. Oh, yeah.
They did a really good job. I did not expect the 4-4-1-1, 4-4-2, kind of however you look at that. I did not expect that. I didn't expect it to work. They did a really great job. I mean, Danny Finlayson coming in, he's really young and he's playing out of position and he's playing against one of the best USL wingers and just, I mean, honestly, like kind of put him in his pocket. He didn't really have trouble. We didn't really have trouble on that right-hand side. So I was pleased with it. I have to disagree with Cameron. I don't think DJ shouldn't try. I don't think he should try and stay on his feet with a challenge like that against the last man. We were kind of haunted by that last year. Sometimes you just have to finish a game off, especially when you're doing everything against the run of play. And I thought we played super well and took our chances against the run of play. And I think, honestly, we did a really good job of just with the issues that we had and the lack of match fitness that everyone had, playing against Phoenix as opposed to trying to play our own game. And we frustrated them, and it was evident with the bickering that was going on in the field and the tempers flaring on the field. And you pull one back and you take a point, and it's a massive, massive point to pick up.
Definitely a massive point to pick up, especially in a very tough Group B, although San Diego left the door open there with a sort of disappointing loss to LA Galaxy 2, but we won't get there. I'm sure Alan will discuss that with his fellow San Diego fans and supporters in the next day or two. By the way, technical difficulties prevented him from being on at the beginning of the podcast, but he tried and we figured it out. We've got Andy from County Line Coalition. Andy, we were just going through and just giving quick little thoughts on the match against Phoenix this past Thursday. What was your first impression of the result in that match?
Yeah, sorry, I'm a little out of sorts here, but I'm the guy who pretends to know what he's talking about, so I'm just going to keep doing that. And on paper, Phoenix is easily the best team in the West, possibly the best team in the league, right? And that's what Devin Kerr told us for 90 minutes during the game. And they've had a game since then. I mean, let's call it what it was. It was a tune-up match against the Los Dos kids, and that's not a knock against them, but it was grown men playing a bunch of kids. And we haven't played in like almost 3 months, right? Actually, it was over 3 months. So, I'll take a point against them. Our games against them are always competitive, and they're generally really good, and it always comes down to the wire, and this was no exception. I think this makes like 8 ties or something crazy between us. But first game out of quarantine, I think we looked good, and I think it's only going to look better.
Yeah, I agree. I think we, Dylan, Alan, myself, we all talked about it last week, how Phoenix is coming in with the advantage of having played a tune-up match against Los Dos, who I believe both you now and Alan called kids, or at least, the opposite of grown-ass men, I think is what Alan's term was last week. But we all know now how that turns out when they face against San Diego, so I don't know what we say about San Diego on that. So that's the interesting thing, though, to think about with this, though, is and that's the tough thing with these two teams, is you never really know what you're going to get week in and week out, or match in and match out, because of these are usually young teams, and sometimes these young teams can really just put a game together and just, look really solid for a full 90 minutes. And sometimes they can just be easily walked over. But, in terms of Phoenix, I mean, Phoenix is a really quality team, so you can maybe expect that against a team like a Los Dos. Was there any player, I'm going to go around and just let's keep it a little brief here, player that stood out for you for Orange County in this match, Cameron?
Brian Olowski. I felt that he was pressing well. He was able to steal possession off of Phoenix. He got himself into some good scoring areas. He may have taken a touch too much. A couple of his shots were blocked. But I think for someone I think it was his first match for the team as a starter, I don't think he put a foot wrong. And personally, he was my man of the match. I mean, yes, Kevin Coleman scored the goal, but I think Olowski gave OC a bit of pace and a bit of just a good ability to press, and had picked out some good passes in the final third, and I think he probably could have got a goal. But that's just down to decision making. But for someone who is looking to make his name in the starting 11 and to put a good foot in for Cloutier, I think he had a solid match overall.
What about you, Alan? Do you agree with Cameron, or do you have a different player that stood out for you?
I thought Aiden Quinn was a absolute star in this match. I think both offensively and defensively, he really put Orange County in a good position to be successful. He was a key player in clogging up that midfield. If you watch back the game, Phoenix really didn't have a lot of space to explore and to use their pace. Solomon Asante blamed the pitch. I will blame Orange County's defensive line and midfield. And I thought Aiden Quinn put some good balls in offensively as well. He just looked kind of vintage Quinn, and it'll be interesting when Enevoltson gets back. I think if Quinn continues to play the way he played against Phoenix, you're adding an extra layer of depth there, an extra layer of offensive attacking prowess that maybe Forrester didn't quite live up to. I thought Quinn pulled out a really, really, really good game for Orange County on both sides of the ball, and so I thought he was my pick for a key player.
Let me move on to you, Dylan. I know you sort of gave a shout out to Danny Finlayson. I forget how to say his last name, so I apologize for that. I always butcher last names. Everyone that listens to this podcast knows that I do that. Would that be your pick for maybe the man of the match, or do you have someone else?
Yeah. I think Olowski's a really good shot, but just to actually Quinn doing so much defensive work and kind of being the person that we played out of trouble with, both are really good opportunities. Just to be different, Danny Finlayson, or even Nathan Smith. Like, we asked both of our fullbacks basically to play against the two best wingers in the league, and they did really, really well. They needed help, but they did really, really well. I'm going to give it to Finlayson because he's playing that position.
I will say at the match, we were sitting in proximity of each other. We were still social distanced, but we were there. And you kept sort of worrying or wondering why Nathan Smith was playing off of Solomon Asante throughout the whole match. I think I'm not quoting you correctly, but you mentioned a few times that you need to get up on Asante. You can't give him that much space. But I will say this, Nathan Smith did put in a really good match. The club put up a little clip of him just sort of not falling for any of Solomon Asante's footwork and just almost like, here, give me that ball and you go to the ground type thing, which was pretty awesome. I know, Andy, you had mentioned how impressed you were with the defense in this match. I think you posted something on the OCSC fans Facebook page about it was impressive that they were to hold this like high scoring, potent offense to one goal, and Phoenix had to work for that goal. So would you pick a defensive player as your standout player, or who would be yours?
Yeah, I was actually Cameron stole mine. I was going to go with Olowski, but I had a backup. It's like when you go to dinner and your buddy orders what you want, so you have to have a backup thing. Same deal. But yeah, I'm going to go with Smith. He was really good at just locking down their scores. I mean, look how many goals Phoenix has scored just in this little truncated short season we've had so far, and to hold them to 0 goals for I don't know, what was it, almost 70 minutes. I mean, come on, that team's just a steamroller, and for us to completely stymie their offense. I think they had 2 shots on goal or something, 2 shots on target. I mean, ours was not high either, but theirs was exceptionally low. And to just be told what a scoring powerhouse they were, to just watch them not really be able to do anything was great. But yeah, there's that clip where Solomon Asante is carrying the ball, and Nathan basically just stands his ground and takes the ball off his feet, and Solomon goes flying into the area. That was just, I could watch that all day.
And I think one of your fellow CLC members is maybe trying to give credit to CLC for their chanting out there outside of the fence. Maybe that shocked Phoenix a little bit or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, that defense was a really solid group effort. I think all the players on that defense, maybe forgetting a couple of plays. I know there was one moment where I think right after I had mentioned that it's nice to have someone like Orozco in the back line, and then he made a really bad play on a ball and almost scared us all for a moment there. I'm going to pick I'm going to sort of cheat and pick 2 players as my impact players in this match, and that's going to be the subs that came in DJ and Kevin Coleman. I think I mentioned before they even came in, I looked at Cameron and Dylan. I said, those 2 are going to have to come in, and they're going to really change this match. And if you look back at the tape, you look back at the match, Ugo was struggling to make any kind of impact up front because he was really the only person up there. Olowski was doing some work, but he was staying back a little bit. He wasn't really pressing high up with Ugo. Once you got Kevin and DJ in there, Kevin Coleman and DJ in there, it sort of opened up the offense for Orange County. It added some pace to the wings, and it also made Phoenix now have to focus on 2 very potent offensive threats in DJ and Kevin Coleman, which gave Ugo a little bit more space to work, eventually leading to a goal that we got there from Kevin Coleman, and almost a second goal, if not for I guess you could say 2-point or 1-point saving red card by Kanto Owasu Ansu, or however you say his name. I'm butchering that also. Dylan's just looking at me. Oh. Hey, he's no longer
one letter changed in his name. One letter changed, and all of a sudden you can't pronounce the whole thing.
You just said like 5 different words, and none of them were ever any part of his name.
Everything you said was wrong.
Owusu Ansu Kanto. Okay, there we go. Is that better?
Kanto with the condor, baby.
I do think that Kevin Coleman shout is a great one. We saw like sparks of this last year, and I thought he was going to be a really exciting addition to Orange County last year. And then he had a couple really good games in a row, and I was like, man, this guy's going to be the next level. He's going to be somebody who can pull off the bench. You can rotate through, and I think he got hurt, and he never quite regained his greatness. It was really, really, really good to see him back out and being successful and really kind of running at that back line, and putting them on notice that both him and DJ are going to do that. And I think that there's something for Coach Cloutier to look at for next match is maybe you do the same thing where you start off with a bigger guy like a Shauna Coley. I think Brian Olowski is going to get his chance. I don't think he was super great. I think it was good, but not great. And then you bring those speed guys off the bench when that back line's tired and just run at them and run at them and run at them. And I'm, like I said, it was really, really good to see Kevin Coleman be successful again.
And here's an interesting thing, right? With that late red card from Kanto, I mean, he's not going to get to play in this next match, which luckily for Orange County, I guess in this instance, it's against Orange County. So that red card is really impacting this match now. And from what I know, Phoenix is not really deep when it comes to Kanto's position there, right? I don't know who is going to step in and play for him. I know we've talked about in the past that Phoenix has a really, really, really deep squad, but this may be the one like Achilles heel of the depth chart is who's going to now step in for Phoenix in the back line there and help prevent against what we know is a pretty good offense for Orange County. And again, we don't typically see this in soccer where it's back-to-back matches against the same opponent. So usually a red card in a match, say against us, would help another team, but it's helping us. It's really cool. What do you think, Dylan?
Yeah, they actually have a bit of a selection nightmare to go through now because of Kanto's red card. I don't think they actually have another left back, so maybe they played Darnell King on the wrong foot, but he actually didn't look that good on the right foot, no pun intended, as a right back. It's a bit of a mess. It totally sucks for them. I mean, they've got Austin Ledbetter on the bench, but I don't see they're not going to change from their shape, so they have to play someone kind of out of position now, and I don't know. Defense kind of haunted them in this match. I think they had a bit of trouble. Orange County kind of like goaded them into playing too far up the pitch, and then it's not pretty to watch, but Rob Kiernan's great at it from playing in Scotland and England. Is just like 4-4-2 hoofball, get up the pitch and hope someone gets something. I'm glad we don't play like that on a regular basis anymore, but we did well. I do want to say though, the pitch was in bad shape, but that's not why Phoenix lost, because
they didn't lose.
Because they couldn't truck 8
it's like a
buses
loss,
full of
honestly.
fans to...
No, I mean, it's both teams play on it, right? And it's not like the ball was taking really weird bobbles. It was just hard and in bad shape. And it's not like that's what we want out of our pitch either, because we have to play a bunch more games there.
Shout out to spray paint.
Yes, shout out to the city of Irvine for not doing the bare minimum at all times.
But I mean, they go into San Antonio and do decently well in San Antonio, and we know that pitch is garbage. So,
and their own is usually pretty bad by this point in the season as well. So it was a weird. I didn't end up watching the video, but I saw it got circulated pretty horribly, and I was like, okay, well, the pitch was bad. That is absolutely true. They had to spray paint it because I guess when this all started, they just decided not to do anything to it. But I just honestly think Orange County and the defense did incredibly well. And then, you just put 2 really fast guys on who were fresh after 65 minutes and let them have fun. And that's what they did.
Let me go over to you, Andy. What are you thinking is going to happen in this match, this rematch, I guess we could say? What needs to happen for Orange County to come away with the full 3 points?
Man, you shouldn't ask me tactical questions like that. But I don't want to say it's going to be more of the same, but I think we'll see a similar principle, maybe not the same tactics. But let's be honest. Phoenix is strong and fast. It's one of the reasons they get so many PKs. It's one of the reasons why they get so many dangerous free kicks down in the attacking third. So you really have to bottle that up. You got to keep them from being able to get onto their legs. We mentioned earlier about how Nathan Smith was just, he was on Asante, just, gum on a shoe, right? And just not letting him really get into what he wanted to get into. It's going to have to be more of the same, I think. It'll probably look a little different on top. But I think we'll see some similar kind of assignments, but it can't be the same. But I'm not smart enough to guess what that'll look like.
Well, let me ask you, Cameron, if we can have a lot more of Solomon Asante complaining to the refs about things going on in the match instead of maybe being able to easily dribble by our defenders, then that's definitely a recipe for a victory, right?
I mean, I think the best part about that game is just hearing all the on-field chatter and the coaches and whatnot. And Asante was like the most vocal one, and he got a yellow card too right after he made the big fuss to the ref, and then he gets booked. I think what we're going to see on Saturday is that we're going to see Phoenix try to press for an early goal. That's the only way. That's the only way they get a win. Because they know they have that deficiency now with Contour off the pitch, not playing. We're going to see Phoenix come out full guns blazing and getting that early goal so they can set up shop. And I think just if Orange County can weather the first 20 minutes and then start easing themselves into the game and start pounding whoever's playing at left back, I think Orange County can. I think they can get 3 points as long as they can weather what Phoenix is going to bring in the first 20 minutes, because they know they're going to try to get that first goal.
So let me go to you really quick, Alan. So do you think, do you agree with Cameron on that, where Phoenix is going to be going for that early goal? And if we can maybe not allow that early goal, is that a good sign for Orange County?
Yeah, I think Phoenix lives on that panic that teams play under when they play Phoenix is if they go down 1-0, they know they're going to have to score, so they open up, which leads to space that Phoenix can take advantage of. I think what Orange County did really well was eliminate that space that Phoenix had to operate in. So I do agree with Cameron that if Orange County can keep Phoenix off the board, I think Phoenix gets a little frustrated and goes to this kind of like, we're just going to, dump it or try to use our speed. I don't think they're quite as crisp when they aren't on the front foot. We saw that a little bit at the end of the season last year. We saw a little bit against Orange County where they kind of press things. They put balls in that aren't the smartest but they're the fanciest. So I think if Orange County can keep them off the board for as long as possible, they're going to get frustrated, and then that's going to open them up for Orange County to take advantage. So Orange County just needs to be patient. A draw for them is not going to kill them. I think drawing Phoenix puts them in a better position because that means every other team in the group has to draw Phoenix. Otherwise, that's a point dropped in comparison. So as long as they're not dropping all three, Orange County should be happy with whatever they get off of Phoenix because the mentality changes. You just got to get into the playoffs. And so they're playing. Right now it's Phoenix and Orange County to lose. And if they take points off of Phoenix, that just puts them in a driver's seat.
Good way to look at it. Any other thoughts heading into this Orange County Phoenix match on Saturday? I'll start off really quick with you, Cameron.
I mean, it's just just staying solid defensively. Like what Alan said just like 30 seconds ago. Stay patient. I think if Olofsky can make fewer touches in the box and find some space for him, he can probably get a goal or two. Again, Darwin Jones and Kevin Coleman, they're the X factors. And Darwin Jones, he's lining up on that left back who's ever playing there. Darwin can have a field day. And I think 2 draws, it's good, but I think ultimately if OC wins Saturday, they are the driver. They're in the driving seat for the entire group. And I think that's a better position to be in. I mean, even though Phoenix is one of the best teams in the league, I think if Orange County can stay patient, frustrate Phoenix, like what Alan said, OC can get 3 points. And taking 4 points from 2 games and being in the driving seat in the West, I think that's what OCSC needs to get done.
And we haven't even mentioned Chandler Hoffman, which the account from Counterline Coalition is sort of maybe questioning. Well, what's Hoffman going to play in this match? I think he came on. I think speaking with Braden Cloutier after the match on Thursday, he just really started training with the team. So to throw him in there with limited training with the team, and he looked okay out there. He didn't look great, but again, when you've only had a few practices with your teammates, it's going to be tough to go into that situation. I think he's one of those players that you're going to have to give it a few weeks before he's making solid impacts for the team. Let me go to you, Dylan, because I know you were ready to say something before I went to Cameron there. Any last thoughts on this Orange County Phoenix match that's coming up?
Yeah, my big questions are Hoffman now with a week and a half of training. What can he do in a match? I think he offers a different play style from Ugo, and I think it's probably worth exploring, as well as Enevoldsen. Obviously missed out in the last match because he happened to be in Denmark like a week and a half prior. I don't know how long he spent there. I don't know if he's back or not. I didn't see him last week, but if he was quarantining, then he obviously wouldn't be at the match. So I think if those two play, we probably get a really, really big result because Enevoldsen is a massive, massive problem to deal with for a back line that will be playing a second string player that's made like 9 appearances for the club ever. It's Bjornthen, by the way. He is their backup left back. He spent a bunch of time with Tucson, which is why I forgot he existed. Sorry, buddy.
And, Dylan bringing up Enevoldsen, he wasn't there at the previous match. We learned from Coach Braden Cloutier he was back home in Denmark, I believe because of the birth of a child. So that's why Enevoldsen has been out of at least the lineup for that first match. And we really don't know if he's back, when he came back, and with the whole quarantine stuff, what's going on with that. So let me go to you, Andy. Any last thoughts on this upcoming match?
Yeah, look, Phoenix is a good team. Let's not kid ourselves. We all know that. But we're pretty good too, right? And I'm a little tired of the narrative that Phoenix is going to win everything. Our group's hard. There's no way you can say our group's not hard. We've got us, we've got Phoenix, we've got San Diego, and yeah, San Diego's kind of the X factor, but I have a feeling they might be on top of the league right now, or on top of our bracket, or something. I don't know. Alan keeps trying to tell me they're the most winningest team in football. I don't know, but we're pretty good too, both on paper and now clearly on the field. Anybody who discounts us or thinks it's going to be an easy win, they're going to have a bad time.
That was
Alan,
the
what about
soccer.
you?
That was the soccer's, Andy, that I was talking about. Not, I mean, San Diego Loyals only lost one match.
Nobody cares.
I know, which is sad. San Diego Sockers have a huge lineage, including Coach Braden Cloutier and Aiden Quinn's dad, both played for the Sockers at the same time.
Did you ever win any of those jerseys that you were bidding for, by the way?
No, they went for like way more than I was willing to pay for them.
Way more than a teacher's salary, huh?
It's true. It's true. But they went to a good cause, and so congratulations to the people who won. Yeah, I think the group is by far the strongest group in the Western Conference. And, you know, I put this in the chat with Dylan. San Diego was built to make the playoffs in a 16 or an 18-team Western Conference. They're not built to necessarily go toe-to-toe with Phoenix and Orange County in 3 matches. I do think that they can be competitive. I think LA can be competitive. We saw what we've seen what Tacoma's been able to do early season against Sacramento. There's so many like variables right now that's like you can't pick winners in some of these matches. Like I think the USL pick'ems had like 4 correct picks out of the entire weekend of the picks. So just right now it's just a crapshoot, and it's so hard. So it was nice to see 2 teams playing at a higher level against each other. And like I said, I can't wait for Saturday. Like I can't. Like I'm excited as just a soccer fan to see these 2 teams go up against each other because I think they elevate each other to play better. Orange County seems to rise to that challenge. And Phoenix has only won once in Orange County. They talk a lot of smack about Orange County being their home away from home, but there are way more draws. Yeah, that one win was a kind of a big win, but Orange County's been able to go toe-to-toe with the, quote, best team in the West and come away successful more than that. Outdoor soccer, she does not like indoor soccer, so that's a little bit of a biased opinion. It's just different. But I do think Andy's right. I think there's a lot of variables, and teams like Orange County and Phoenix need to be careful that they don't trip up against a team like LA. Like that's been a little bit of Orange County's kryptonite last year was Los Dos. They couldn't beat them. And you in a shortened season in a tight group, every point matters. If you drop points against a team you're supposed to win, like Las Vegas, LA, I would even argue Orange County should beat San Diego at home. Like that's what they should do. And if they don't, then that's when the wrenches start to come into the play. But I was really impressed with the young players at Orange County this past game. I was impressed with the older players, really outside of a couple plays here and there. But yeah, it did take Drogba. But no, I think Orange County is in a great position, and if they play like they played last weekend, I do see 3 points. I see that they can get a win out of Phoenix. And it would be a huge win.
Perfect. Let's go around the table here and do our score predictions for this match. I'm going to start with our guest, Cameron, score prediction, and who's going to be the key player for the match.
Okay. So my pick, I think it'll be 2-1 Orange County. I think Orange County get 2 goals before Phoenix gets their 1. Could be late on. My player to watch, I'm gonna have this is gonna be 2 for 1. I'm gonna say a Roscoe and Rob Kiernan. because Phoenix is going to come flying out of the gate, and they got to be simpatico. They got to be communicating with each other because I felt they both had strong games. I mean, so I just think that, if Kieran and Orozco are able to match that performance last week or go one further, I think that's the key for Orange County winning.
What about you, Andy?
Scores? Is that what we're doing?
Yep. Pay attention, man. Pay attention.
Man, yeah, I'm not used to going second. I'm gonna echo Cameron, and I was actually thinking this earlier. 2-1 Orange County.
Perfect. Any person that will be the key to the match that you can think
Mr.
of?
Aiden Quinn, like always.
Perfect. Dylan, what about you?
I think this is a 1-1 draw. I don't know who's going to be the man of the match.
Just phoning it in, Dylan, there.
How dare you? I am the senior-most member of this podcast.
Oh.
I mean, technically, isn't that Andy? Isn't he the oldest?
Hey, what is going on? What is going on here? Who else are we going to roast? By the way,
Cameron and his toothbrush.
For the refs. We will not be rooting for the refs in this match. They had a bad timeout. There was no fourth official. They had a bad timeout anyway. Yeah,
Matt Fonseca was the fourth official.
Never going to root for pro refs.
Alan, what about you? What is your score prediction and the key player? Are you gonna agree with your co-host there in San Diego for the Fair Weather Pod?
No. So with the USL show, we do a pick'em every week, and we submit it to the league, and it's like a consensus vote, and I'm sometimes wrong. But I picked Orange County to win this match. I thought, looking at what they were able to do them defensively this past match, and thinking about what they can do offensively, I am going to agree with a 2-1 Orange County victory. And I think it boils down to whoever they put in the goal, whether it's if Frederick Due or Dua, whatever his name is, makes his start. Well, they say Due, but I know it's not Due. If Frederick Dua,
that's the Salt Lake City guys. They're the ones that say Due.
If Frederick Dua makes his appearance, I think he pulls it out. I think Aaron Cervantes can have a better game. I thought he did fine, but I think it's going to boil down to how well the keeper does, because I think that they're going to be tested a little bit more, and they're going to have to come up with a couple big saves, and I know those big saves are in them. So I think that, I agree, Cameron, with Rob Kieran and Michael Orozco. It's going to come down to them, but I think that the keeper is going to bail them out a couple times.
Perfect. I'm going to go 1-0 on this match, and I'm going to say the key player is going to be Harry Forrester. If he can stay under control and he can help set up his teammates up top, then that's how Orange County pulls off this 1-0 victory. Let's do this really quick before we get to our random thoughts for time purposes. I do want to just really quickly touch on the Playing for Pride contest between Alan, Dylan, and myself. I don't know if our stats are up to date. Are they up to date, Alan?
Yes, they are. You have 33 points. You have 33. Dylan has 27. I have 24. But Ray has no more teams left in competition.
Ooh.
So he is completely eliminated. Sorry, no, he's not. Dylan's completely eliminated. I thought Ray was going to be. But Sky Blue FC for Ray.
I saw Sky Blue, yes.
Yeah. The non-choice has Portland Thorns, and I have both Houston Dash and Chicago Red Stars, who are on opposite sides of the bracket. So I'm really hoping they pull through with a victory, and I come from behind.
You're telling me if your teams lose both of these matches, then I'm automatically the winner of this.
No, because Portland Thorns can win, and then everyone loses.
No, we're not counting that. We're counting just between us. Look at this guy. He just doesn't want me to win.
Boo.
He does not want me to win.
Boo.
I just want to say,
Boo.
We're all already hosts of a soccer podcast, so we're already all losers.
Ooh.
Come on.
Yeah, can't go wrong there. Can't go wrong.
Shut up, Mr. History Podcast.
Hashtag facts.
Time
Also-
for random thoughts to wrap
Hold
things
on,
up.
hold on. Big shout out
All
to
right.
Angel City FC. Announcement today. NWSL team coming to LA.
And the youngest owner in sports history, Serena Williams' daughter at 2 years old. So
That's Olympia to you.
Olympia, sorry.
Imagine getting the news you're leaving the team from a 2-year-old. Like giving your papers
No,
like
it's just a text.
You
or it's just
stink.
like,
She's like,
All
do you
right,
have any games on your phone? Actually, it doesn't matter. Call your agent. Go find a new club.
I'm
That's what
losing
I want.
control of this thing. Look at this.
Yeah,
They
you
don't
already
even-
lost it.
put
All
it on
right,
Peppa Pig and make
that's
a big
Cameron's
decision.
random thought. Andy,
Well,
what's
that's
your
not a
random
random
thought?
thought. That is not
No,
a
that's your
random
random
thought. That was on brand for the no. That's not random. That is
Mute
not
that
random.
mic. Mute that mic. Mute that mic.
Okay, random thought time.
No,
Random
no.
thought time. Random thought. Because he does not like to go second, I'm going to go to Andy first for random thoughts. Andy, what's your random thought?
I don't like going first either. Random thoughts. Well, Cameron took mine. I was going to talk about Angel City. Damn it. I will say I tried to order some Angel City merch. Sold out by like 2 o'clock this afternoon. I was a little bummed about that, but that's okay. Hey, anyway, check out your local team, Angel City. If the UWS ever plays again, make sure you check them out. If the WPSL ever plays again, make sure you check them out. I know it's easy to go watch MLS because it's awesome, but you know what? They don't need your money. These other teams need your money, and they need it bad. And you can actually forge a relationship with the team and players without having to spend a pile of money just to go to a game and park your car. So check out lower division, men's, women's, doesn't matter. Check it out. That's all I got.
Perfect. Random thought from Cameron. What you got?
All right.
Oh, geez.
Toy wasn't thinking about the random thought, so I'm gonna get roasted. Let's put it this way.
Here, let me give you a little bit of time to think.
I'm fired.
Cameron. Hold on, Cameron. Think about what your answer is going to be. I'll come back to you. Alan, what's your random thought?
My random thought is if you have a friend or a family member that you haven't checked in on, please do so. Mental health is still something that I think people are trying to figure out. So if you haven't touched base with a friend, acquaintance, someone in your circle that you haven't checked in with, just check in with them, send them a text, see how they're doing, see if they need anything, and help each other continue to get through this. I know sports being back is great, but that's, a couple hours at a time. So I think some people might be having some tough times out there still. So be a good neighbor and check on each other.
All right. Is Cameron ready for his? No, he's not. Okay, let's go to Dylan. Dylan, what's your random thought?
Wow, I really like Alan's. Usually I'm the downer of the random thoughts, but I have to say sports are back for a little bit less time. I don't know. Okay, so Andy's talking about women's sports. Alan's a Liverpool fan. Liverpool is spending a ton of money on a bunch of fireworks, and their women's team just got relegated. Like, their women's team is like USL status, basically, where they're like fighting tooth and nail for the bare minimum living situations. So I don't know, support a women's team, or if you like a big Prem team, you should like hound them like crazy to get them to support their women's team. Also, the championship ends tomorrow, and Luton Town have a chance to actually survive after being on the foot of the table forever. So I'm terrified.
I don't
Life
know
is
what any
horrible.
of that
Someone
means.
check in on me tomorrow, please. Thank you.
All right, let's go back to Cameron. Has he figured out something, or does he just want to agree with County Line Coalition on what their random thought is? What do you got?
News: Orange County is the second county in California that have like the second highest coronavirus cases. Make sure people are wearing a mask. Like, I think there was a sign on the 5-3 that said Orange County is the Florida of California, and really, it's gotten to that point. So, just make sure everyone wears a mask. It's the least you can do in terms of stopping the spread of COVID. It's really the least you can do. Wear a mask.
Perfect. I guess my random thought will be the EUSL Xbox version is going to live on. I just had a meeting with some of the other members of the league. We are sort of going to be the admins for this EUSL league for the next or for the foreseeable future. So we will be continuing things. There's actually going to be promotion relegation. We're going to have a lot of other stuff coming through with that. And I might force Dylan and Alan to continue broadcasting on video games as long as they'll do it. I don't know if they really will, but that's going to continue. I know we were talking about it recently. There were some thoughts that it might not continue, but it was a good conversation today. That's going to keep happening. So I will get to keep playing video game soccer competitively, which is fun. And Andy's falling asleep from that. Lo and behold, Andy, when you didn't have any other sports to watch, you were actually watching a little bit of, I think. Who knows?
It was painful, my friend.
Hey, but it went well today. If you missed it, go check back the replay on our social media accounts. Really quick, social media from everyone. Let's go to Cameron. What's your social media that people can follow if they want to hear more of your historical thoughts?
So my personal Twitter is at what Cameron said, one full word. And the handle to my podcast is a mouthful of his, HIS 1. We're close to 100 followers on Twitter. We're at 96. This weekend on Sunday, we were going to record part 1 of our series about the Russian Revolution. What? I'm reading this chat. What? No, it's yeah. So I mean, there's a bit of sexual innuendo about the title too. You know, I think it was it was very implicitly.
Where did we find it on Twitter?
Yeah, I said a mouthful of his one. It does that.
Okay. Okay, if you don't know why we're cracking up, it's the internal chat.
You'll never get to know.
Luckily, you cannot see what's going on here. So, yes.
All right.
Apparently, Caroline Coalition is falling asleep though right now. So,
Underwood 40 on the Twitter machines.
Thank you, Alan. Dylan.
OCSC_Dylan on Twitter and Reddit, and under the byline Dylan Allen at eldonnews.org.
And what about you, Andy? Sorry.
No, that's all right, man. I always pass this question, but I'm gonna say don't look up me. Look up County Line Coalition on Twitter and Instagram.
Woohoo! And you can follow me on Twitter. My personal is at DJ Ray Samora, or the podcast at OCSC_SoccerCast. Also go to our website, OCSCpodcast.com, to listen to any of our previous episodes, read anything we have to say, follow County Line Coalition to show your support of Orange County and the fans. Look at that. We got just a bunch of Orange County stuff going on. Look right there. Got County Line Coalition behind me. Luckily, they decided to just strike a pose for the entire podcast back there, so that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I think that's about to wrap things up. I want to once again thank our guest from Orange County, defender Kevin Alston, for taking some time to join us today. Also, Cameron, Andy, thanks for joining us on our 100th official counted episode. We've done little pre-match episodes and little one-off episodes that don't account to our official number. We only count our Tuesday night episodes when we count those. So this is officially our 100th episode where we do this, not just sort of random stuff. And then, of course, I want to thank Dylan, who's been there since day one, Alan, who's been there since the beginning of last season. You guys have been a big part of this, and we're going to keep this thing going, and we're going to try and aim for now 1,000 episodes. That's our next big goal to reach. Let me ask you this. Go ahead, Dylan.
Please.
You don't want to get to 1,000?
No.
Well, let's get to 200 first.
Our listeners don't want us there.
Alan, do you have the read ready so I know when to exit things here? Or do I need to draw this out a little bit?
Have we driven it out long enough? That's what.
So,
still doing phrasing, guys?
So once again, thanks for listening. All you listeners that have listened week in and week out, thanks for your support. And we will continue doing this as long as we have people willing to listen to us do this.
And
So for
probably
everyone,
after they all leave.
yes. You ready, Alan? No.
I'm just going to read it from
Hold on.
memory.
Hold
like I
on
did
really quick, you
earlier.
guys. I'm going to give Alan a little bit of time.
Inside my DNA. I got royalty inside my DNA. I got royalty, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA. I was born like this, immaculate conception. I was born like this, was out, she wasn't weapon. I meditate, and off your it's that in the bed. It's that I got.
Thanks to our sponsor, Roughneck Scarves, official scarf supplier of the MLS, USL, and US Soccer. Get your custom scarves for your group or team at roughneckscarves.com. Tired of the same old uniforms and cookie cutter templates from Nike and Adidas? Looking for a unique, completely custom kit for your youth club, Sunday league squad, adult, or even pro team? Icarus FC can help you create the kit of your dreams at an affordable price. Let them help you design your new custom kit today at icarusfc.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this episode. We are out. Have a great weekend. Go Orange County.
Come on, County.